And then, other specific recommendations. So what do we write here in this specific recommendation? So if you see that it is on the level 2, or let's say for example, level 1 lang muna. Okay? Sasabihin nyo, okay, safe for reoccupancy lang yan. So may nakita kayong ceiling that is partially open. Bumuka lang siya dahil natanggal lang yung rivet. So you just write here, there is a ceiling that is partially open, put rivets and then restore it back again. Or if there are cracks that are so uncomfortable to look at, but there are no explosions. For example, ganon, so architectural finishes, so crack, fill it with fillers and then repaint it again. Kasi you imagine if it is a hospital, merong pasyente doon, tapos nakita na daming cracks sa wall niya. So, imbis gumaling, matiwasan ng samot. So, that's the recommendation for hospital. So repaint and then make the cracks varnish away by repainting again. So yung mga ganun. But those are really very helpful recommendations on top of these structural recommendations. Okay, and then here below is assessed by, para magkakaroon ng talagang, you can submit this to wherever you are, city engineer, municipal engineer, or ENGR RMC, then you can put your name here, signature or printed name, and as to what organization you are part of, whether you're PICE, ASEP, SIA, doesn't matter anymore for as long as we make use of this data. And if you are an engineer, you write your PRC number. If you are an architect, you write your PRC number and then you put assessment. Then if you're not an engineer, you're a doctor, you're a teacher, you just write just the same for your own consumption. Okay lang yun? Okay lang. Ano? Kasi there are people who are really mandated to do this. In fact, we are part of the composite initiated by DOLE, under the Office of Secretary Bello. Gagawin yun. But for us here, para maging officials siya, it's really for the structural engineers work only. But for our consumption, para makatulong tayo, ang purpose naman talaga nito, whether you're an engineer or not, you can help allay the fears of the occupants of the building, and you're guided to do this. But when it comes to legality and actual validity of the assessment, it should be done by an engineer. Okay ba yun? But this is not exclusive to all when it comes to pure assessment. It is inclusive. Pero yung mga official talaga na kailangan yung isubmit sa building official, it should be done by the civil engineer. Yes, ma'am.
So for us, non-engineers,
Ma'am, can you use the microphone for the good of all?
okay. For the non-engineers, sir, like say for example, the safety officers and other organizations, can you just do this and then forward this to you sa association ninyo para at least pagka-request, sir, can you come to our whatever?
As much as you would like to do that, the reason why we called for this, seminar is because we want to empower and equip many fellow civil engineers wherever they are around Mindanao. Yun po ang pinakasadya natin. We are simply replicating and multiplying ourselves in order to act fast and timely. Yun po ang point. Because if there are only a few people who will do this, then talagang kukunti lang yung ma-accomplish natin. There are still so many things to do pertaining to assessment. Yes, sir.
Unang-una, thank you very much. Marami tayong natutunan. Palakpakan natin ito.
Thank you.
Now, my question is, halimbawa, maraming building dito may mga crack. Yung opening statement mo kanina, sir, sabi mo na there is structural warranty of 15 years. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Saan namin makita yun? Saan
Civil Code, yes. Civil Code, Article 1723.
Kung ma-memorize.
Single code.
Pwede mo ako bigyan yan? I am interested with that.
Meron siguro kakasuhan si sir.
Number 2, sir, balik tayo sa National Building Code. Yung code na yan, ambot mo siya na. Pero is it true that if we follow strictly yung National Building Code, walang shortcut, it can withstand up to 8 intensity 8. Is that correct, sir?
It's not entirely correct because we are mandated to design our building to withstand a magnitude 7, at least magnitude 7 earthquake. So in our code, there are 3 types of earthquake. Type A, meaning magnitude 7 or roughly about 7.2. Type B is within 6.5 to 6. Type C is 6 and below. So all of the designers of the building should design a building that should withstand magnitude 7 with minimal damage. We're not saying that the building should have no damage at all because non-structural damage are expected, but the structure itself should withstand magnitude 7.
Okay, sir. Ang ating latest earthquake is Sunday is 6.9.
Correct.
So do we expect cracks?
We expect cracks, minor cracks, the walls, if according to your design, okay siya sa magnitude 7. Now here is the key here. No? Pag yung tanong na 7, it's not really a general statement na walang damage yung structure mo because the structure itself is a complex structure which is composed not only of the concrete beams and the columns, it has architectural finishes, it has plumbing lines, it has electrical lines, it has very sensitive objects. So, ibig sabihin dito, there are other components of the structures that may experience damages, but not the structure. Meaning, kung sa medicine pa sir, yung orthopedic region dapat should withstand that earthquake. Bahala na magkasakit yung konti, magkabag-kabag, headache, okay na yun, but not the bones. Yun po ang responsibility ng Article 1723.
Excuse me, good morning sir. Yung bahay ko po, structural engineer, nagtingin siya. Pinatingin na ako because there is a crack sa walls.
Okay.
May room namin sa second floor. Tapos ang advice lang niya, okay naman daw yung house as a whole. Pero yung sa extension na kasi yun, extension side yun sa aming room, yung sa bahay. Sabi niya parang hindi dumaan ng ano to, yung engineer, yung construction. So sabi rin ng wife ko, hindi nga siya na lang nagpa-extension ba? Ano nagawa? So there is that crack na. But yung crack nyo is highlight crack. So ano lang niya, advice niya, ito nga, sinulat niya for CHB wall cracks, high injection, low viscosity epoxy. High injection, low viscosity epoxy. Sabi niya, do it yourself daw ito. Yun ang explanation niya. Sabi ko, saan ko ito mapipili na? Kasi kumahay siya eh.
Tanong ko sir, andito ba yung engineer mo na kasi? Andito ba?
Wala. Kasi, ito ha, may taga-Manila yun. Kaibigan ng anak ko, kinontact through Facebook. Tapos napunta sila rito, sila nag-check sa Brisa. Meron silang mga check ng mga building dito. Pero on that day, pabalik na rin siya sa Manila. At any rate, sir, ito ang question ko, sir. I tried to look for this, yung high injection low viscosity epoxy. Sa mga hardware, halos wala. Kung halos hindi nila alam. Tapos, is it really true na pwede ito na do it yourself?
No sir, hindi lang do it yourself. By the way, no, minsan ba, this is the time where civil engineers and other professions should work together. Kayo po ang may-ari ng building, spend specially for your future safety. So if you will plan to live in the house for the next 20 or so years, so para po yung nag-i-import tayo sa bangko. So hire the right professionals to do the job. So hindi naman hindi naman yan siya laro-laro lang. So if there are damages later, just like what happened to Padana, and I talked to the friend of the Rock, so wala tayong magawa. Sabi niya, nasa hulihan talaga ang pagsisisi. So we want to extend as much help as possible. So meron kayong mga buildings na gano'n, try to seek the help of engineers and other professionals. So yung high viscosity, yung tinatawag na high viscosity, high ejection, low viscosity, it's really low viscosity epoxy. The unit weight or the specific gravity of that is even less than water, so that it easily penetrates the cracks. Kaya sinasabing low viscosity. So specific gravity or unit weight of that is less than that of water. Para yan siyang alcohol. But it's not that na parang i-inject na nag-botox ka lang. Hindi yung ganun. There is really a procedure for that.
Yes, sir. Alan, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Sir Elves.
I'm going to talk about cracks. Would there be any guideline, especially on structural system? Kung sabihin na ba natin critical na ito na crack, if this is going to have a length of somehow 4 centimeters or whatever sizes. Because ngayon sa event ng earthquake sa Mindanao, it happened in October 16, 29, 31, and December 15, and it increases. So if we assume that the cracks is very, very minor, and structural system, I'm talking about structural system, would there be chances that with the recurrence of the earthquake, there could be magnification of cracks and later on it will become critical?
Okay. Any building is like a human being. Kung meron nararamdaman yung katawan natin, symptoms will come out. Symptoms of a distressed structural system. Pag masakit ang tiyan mo, something is happening inside. Pag masakit ang ulo natin, something is happening inside. So same with buildings. If it is a reinforced concrete building, when it is under distress, it is always manifested by cracks. So, ibig sabihin, pag lumalaki yung cracks mo, something is not right inside. Okay? So, it's not really the cracks per se that we are analyzing. The cracks are just a manifestation or symptoms of the real problem. That's why it is important to do structural assessment of the building so that we will determine what is the cause of this distress that are manifested with the cracks. So yun din siya. Okay. Yes, sir.
So in case na may level 2 na after assessment, in case na maka-encounter yung level 2 for our emergency action plan, which organizations can we tap?
Okay. So level 2. Tama yun. That's a very, very good question. What's next? Parang ganun yun, ano? So if it's level 2, it now proceeds to detailed assessment and eventual retrofit. So dalawa lang yung possible na output niyan. If the building can still be retrofitted or the building will not be retrofitted at all but fix only those non-structural damages. Like for example, meron kang crack nakita, tapos okay, detailed assessment tayo. Wala tayong tools. So all we need to do is we hire the engineer, pag may cracks doon, tatanggalin niyo yung mga plasters. If the plasters did not penetrate the structural member, then it will now go to level 1. Okay ba yun? So pag nakita natin itong column na ito, may cracks sa doon, so tinanggal natin yung plaster. That's a detailed assessment already. Tapos nakita natin walang crack. Plasters lang siya. Then it will be downgraded to level 1. So pwede kang magre-report ngayon doon sa anumang agencies as a civil engineer. So we have, like for example, an assessment was carried out on this and based on this assessment, walang problem ng buildings because there are no damages except for those clusters, then it will be downgraded. But on the other hand, ito na, if the cracks went through the entire beam or the cracks went through the column, what's next? Hindi naman pwedeng i-downgrade. So the next thing to do is do a retrofitting design. So since this is not a place to discuss retrofitting design, it can be done in another format because there are so many ways to do retrofitting design appropriate to your detailed assessment result. So when we have rapid assessment, pag lumabas siya na level 1, okay, so walang problem. If lumabas siya na level 2, then you do a detailed assessment. Then if nothing is wrong, downgrade it to level 1. But if it comes out na may damage siya, then do a design of retrofitting. So the design of retrofitting will now include the entire structure and then do a total sweep and determine what are those members that are already weak even if they are not damaged at all. So that will be a design which is specific to structural design already. Then, yun ang next na step. Okay ba? Sige. Yes, architect. Si Architect Pinto, my friend.
Maybe this is a question coming from a very an innocent young boy. Okay, sir. For example, your building, whatever, has withstand, no anything. For example, it was able to withstand October 16, 29, and then of last Sunday, and nothing happened. Does it mean that like repeated earthquakes of similar magnitude, it will always withstand it, or will it eventually become weaker?
Okay, gandang tanong from a little boy daw. Okay, now, every building, just like a human being, there is what we call a frequency of vibration. So, pag matangkad yung taong yun, when you push that person, his shaking is slow. So, high-rise building, pag very slow. But for stockier people or shorter buildings, if you shake them, the frequency is fast. Now the question is, what kind of earthquake will attack that building? If the earthquake is slow, it will match the vibration or the frequency of a tall building. And when it matches the vibration of that building, there is what we call a phenomenon called resonance. It's like strumming a guitar. So there is a resonance. So pag yung building mo, sinishake mo siya with a vibration close to the resonance or close to the period of vibration of the building, then that building will be damaged. On the other hand, if the vibration of the earthquake is suited to small buildings, then those small buildings will collapse before tall buildings. Now, ano ang behavior ng mga earthquakes natin? Our earthquakes in the last October to December earthquakes, the mga 4 major earthquakes, are low frequency or high frequency earthquake, meaning yung vibration mabilis. And we are all witnesses to that. Yung vibration, it's not like murakag ni sa kayong bangka na slow yung vibration, but it's really fast. So, it means to say, it is dangerous to low to mid-rise buildings. That's why, walang problem masyado yung mga high-rise. Although there are other buildings, assuming na maayos yung pagkakadesign, especially those condos, so minor damage. Like, karamihan mga damage are small buildings because of the high-frequency vibration of the structure. Now, how do we answer that? Because we cannot predict the vibration of the earthquake. So, maaaring sabihin natin that building, for that matter, does not match the vibration of the earthquake. That's why it withstood those 4 major earthquakes. Now, when it happens that the vibration of the earthquake matches the building, then surely that building by resonance will collapse. So there is really no certainty. So how do we prevent that? That's why in structural engineering, we have to design our structure to withstand different modes of vibration. Kung masyadong mataas yung frequency, we design the building to withstand that frequency, high frequency, and also lower frequencies. So yun yung sagot doon. Okay ba? Okay.
Okay, any questions, clarifications, namoy kalagot, kaligot-got from the participants? Mingaw magpiyag.
Okay, so by the way, no, this form, kung meron mang lumapit sa inyo, no, so as much as possible, the reason why we did this is because we want to empower as many people as possible so that if you have friends, relatives, or even people who will come to you and ask your opinion, so I encourage you, ang first na lumapit sa inyo, do it for free muna. Okay? Kung marami na, saka kayo maningin. Okay? Rapid assessment. And kung tatanungin niyo ako, how much will it cost? Kayo na bahala. Pwede isang kape, pwede isang tubig, or whatever. Yes, ma'am? Okay. Okay ba yung suggestion ko? Kung may lumapit sa inyo? Because we really give this to you, no? Courtesy of the Structural Engineers Association of Davao to help Filipino or Mindanao engineers be equipped. Okay, so salamat sa inyo talaga.
Sir, good morning po. We were discussing reinforcement, right? How about, sir, yung mga housing breakers?
Okay, very good question. So ito dito, we're talking of just a preview, no? Sino bang exposed or nasa design and construction or contracting ng mga precast like yung mga deca homes, yung mga gano'n, or like yung mga, I don't know who are the developers here na gumagamit ng mga precast walls na dinudugtong ninyo or small walls na supay-supay. Napadali? Isa lang? Si ma'am lang? Ay, taas yung kamay nyo. Sino yun? Because I will give special lecture sa inyo pagkatapos dito.
Actually, sir, the sister of Ricas from like kami from also Marsovic acid base.
Okay.
There's no problem with pressure walls. Yung lang sa Ricas kasi, usually, ang problem is connection ng joint. Connection ng joint sa precast, doon nagkakaroon. It's not just permanent cracks kasi. So yun yung problem. Can you just apply concrete epoxy?
Okay. So, you are not doing precast, but this is your observation on precast. Okay. On the structural engineering point of view, precast itself is good. No? Walang problema yan because you can control the quality of your pouring, your configuration, your installation off-site. Then you bring it on-site and then you connect them together. So the most important thing that has to be considered and checked during the construction are indeed the connection detailing. Kung paano mo kinoconnect yon. And the connection there is in place or on-site. So if there is not much attention to the connection of those joints, because these joints are really the thing that carries all the stresses, then problems are bound to happen. So again, precast itself is good, but it's in the detail that requires so much attention. So kung kayo nagpi-precast, make it very, very certain if there is going to be a defense, kung panel defenses of thesis and the research, it has to be presented how the detailed connections were carried out, what are the calculations under it, so that when you test it during the earthquakes, then these joints should not be damaged. Joints should not be the location of those tracks. It should be somewhere else. Ganun yun. Okay. Okay, meron pa ba? Now, John, take it away. Parang naubos na.
Okay. Okay, so if you have questions, suggestions, and feedback, please contact us. Our email address is siadabao@gmail.com. You can see here at the board. Sorry, it's small for those seated at the back. The office telephone number is 241-2886. The Facebook page is Sia Davao. And then the contact number is Globe. Globe now, but next year it's Dito. Sorry, I'm promoting our third telco. Is 0975-316-0327. Okay? You can take the picture, but you can visit the Facebook page, Sia Davao. Okay? So, wala na mo yung pangutana? Okay, there's a question here.
Sir, question lang. Once na earthquake na no, kanos ata mo sulod para mag-inspection?
Okay, so kanos ato mong sulod after inspection? So the question is, ayaw sa sulod, tanaw sa surrounding, no? So, like for example, pag nanay earthquake, the first thing to do is you get out of the building. Okay, so when the earthquake stops, definitely there will be aftershocks. Now, if our initial assessment of the building, if there are no collapse yet from the exterior, okay, take note that all the damaged locations will always be in the perimeter. Okay, kung i-imagine nyo, the building will be swaying back and forth, forward or backward, the most stressed columns are the perimeters. So it will give us an idea now that before you inspect a building, you go around first. Tingnan mo muna yung nasa palikod. So, not only the structural component, but also the non-structural. Now, you will notice, like SM Immaculate, nahulog yung parapet niya. Okay? So, yung parapet ang bumagsak because it has a lacking stiffener. Vertical and horizontal stiffener. So, tingnan mo rin, baka mahulugan ganon while it is not structural. So, tingnan mo baka may mga falling hazards coming from the parapets from the top. And usually because of so much swaying and displacement at the top, sila yung unang nahuhulog from the top, not at the bottom. But when you look at the bottom, you just look at the ground floor perimeter. When you don't see any damage or explosion or buckled bars or exploded bars, then you can go and enter the building. So the good thing here is, when we understand the behavior or the damage of the building, as long as there are no exploded columns, as long as there are no exposed bars, as long as there are no yung buckled bars, you can enter. At saka yung tinatawag natin redundancy. If there are no series of 3 adjacent columns in the shortest direction that are exposed, you can enter. So okay ba yun? Does it give us confidence? Tumas konti yung level ng confidence natin. Especially, we are all in the technical side. Now for the educators here, tumas po yung ating confidence level so that when your CHED or your DepEd boss will tell you inspect your building, you will volunteer. Just like those in Kinapawan. Sabi lang, sir, I will volunteer. Mag-i-inspect ako ng mga national high school namin. Palakpakan ka na doon. Ang mga engineers, ubat mi sa inyo ha. These are superintendents, principals, supervisors from DepEd. Because they have this knowledge already that they can, for themselves, inspect their buildings. Okay, the reason why we wanted to register, because there is a comment here, because this is really what we're using in our office when we do rapid assessment. Then out of this, we make an official report. We don't use this as our final report, because remember, this is for one story only. So if you have 4 stories, you have 4 stories of this. So that's why we put here, this earthquake rapid assessment form is owned by BOTUYAN. So in this case, because these are emergencies, okay, so I am waiving this for you to use, so for free. Okay. You can reproduce it, pwede nyo tanggalin or pwede nyo iwan, it doesn't matter, for as long as you use it. Okay ba yun? Okay.
Okay.